Day 3 of the Karen Read trial began with firefighter and paramedic Anthony Flematti from the Canton Fire Department, resuming the witness stand to continue direct examination by Assistant District Attorney Adam Lally. Flematti described their arrival at the scene, where their main focus was positioning the apparatus to assess the situation effectively. Seated in the ambulance's passenger side, Flematti noted the presence of 2 female individuals near the victim John O'Keefe, who was lying supine on his back about 10 feet away from the road. Flematti detailed their protocols for assessing the situation's viability for resuscitation, mindful of factors like weather conditions and hypothermia. Upon deeming O'Keefe a viable candidate for resuscitation, Flematti and his team initiated various treatment efforts, including CPR, epinephrine administration, IO line establishment, warming procedures, intubation, and suctioning. During these efforts, Flematti interacted with one of the females on the scene, Miss Read, who was visibly distressed and admitted to hitting O'Keefe. Treatment efforts continued during transport to Good Samaritan Medical Center, where O'Keefe's condition was further assessed. Observations revealed injuries such as cold exposure, hemorrhage, contusions, and lacerations. Additionally, O'Keefe's pupils were non-reactive, indicating a lack of brain activity, and his core body temperature was recorded at 80 degrees. After transferring care to hospital staff, Flematti and his team returned to their quarters for decontamination and equipment replenishment. Flematti mentioned being available for follow-up questions from hospital staff and potentially returning to the hospital for additional calls if needed. Flematti faced intense scrutiny under cross-examination by defense attorney Alan Jackson. Flematti's testimony, which initially seemed to offer clarity on the events surrounding O'Keefe's tragic demise, was dissected, revealing ambiguities and uncertainties. Flematti's initial observations upon arriving at the scene seemed to set a foundational understanding of the incident. However, under Jackson's questioning, it became evident that the clarity was not as crystal as it appeared. Flematti confirmed seeing a figure in the snow, but couldn't definitively discern gender, raising questions about the reliability of initial perceptions. Flematti's account of O'Keefe's injuries painted a picture of trauma, yet under Jackson's scrutiny, gaps emerged. While noting lacerations and contusions around O'Keefe's eyes, Flematti couldn't recall key details such as active bleeding locations, casting doubt on the comprehensiveness of his assessment. Flematti's acknowledgement of abdominal distension and a conversation with the defendant seemed pivotal. However, his inability to recall specific conversation details or the extent of trauma on O'Keefe's abdomen introduced uncertainty into the narrative. Flematti's interaction with video evidence and his role in administering CPR further highlighted the intricacies of the case. His struggle to definitively identify individuals in the footage and uncertainties regarding the continuity of CPR cast shadows over the clarity of events. Flematti's acknowledgement of discrepancies between verbal accounts and written reports underscored the importance of meticulous documentation. The absence of explicit mention of vehicle-related injury possibilities in reports raised questions about the completeness of documentation. Firefighter and paramedic Matthew Kelly of the Canton Fire Department recounted the events of January 28, 2022, when his team from Station 1 responded to a dispatch call about an unresponsive male on Fairview Road. Kelly described the challenging weather conditions en route to the scene, with heavy snow and low visibility. Upon arrival, he found O'Keefe lying near a fire hydrant and immediately began assessing his condition, initiating CPR and chest compressions. Throughout his testimony, Kelly detailed the efforts to treat O'Keefe, his condition upon arrival, the administration of medical care, and the transport to Good Samaritan Hospital. During cross-examination by defense attorney David Yannetti, Kelly was questioned about specifics such as the removal of O'Keefe's clothing and the handling of evidence. While Kelly's memory remained consistent on certain points, there were discrepancies regarding details like the clothing removal process and the transfer of evidence to hospital staff. In a notable moment, defense attorney Yannetti played an audio clip focusing on a statement allegedly made at the scene. Kelly indicated that he had difficulty hearing it. Assistant District Attorney Adam Lally's redirect examination aimed to clarify points raised during cross-examination, including Kelly's presence at the scene and the sequence of events leading to O'Keefe's transport. Francis Walsh, a lieutenant paramedic with the Canton Fire Department, was the next witness to testify. Walsh was on duty as a driver of Engine 3 and also operated a snowplow that day. Walsh told the court about the tricky road conditions and how they managed to reach a spot near the victim. He also mentioned that Ambulance 1 and Patrol Car 5 were already there when they arrived. Walsh noticed that O'Keefe had a bruise near his eye and blood coming from his nose. He helped move O'Keefe onto a stretcher and then into the ambulance. Walsh administered medicines and fluids through the IO access port. After helping O'Keefe, Walsh stayed a bit longer at the scene to tell Sergeant Good about what he saw and mentioned scratches on O'Keefe's arm. During questioning by defense attorney David Yannetti, Walsh was asked how upset Karen Read seemed and what she was saying. Walsh agreed that she was the most upset person there and kept asking if O'Keefe was alive while crying loudly. The final witness for the day was Katie McLaughlin, a firefighter and paramedic with 7 years of experience, previously working as an EMT basic for Brewster Ambulance before becoming a paramedic and joining the fire department. She explained her certification process, involving 2 years of schooling with both state and national registry certifications, which require recertification every 2 years through continuing education. She recalled working a regular 24-hour shift from 8 a.m. January 28th to 8 a.m. January 29th. When her team arrived at the scene, they found multiple police vehicles and at least one civilian vehicle. McLaughlin assisted in bringing a stretcher close to O'Keefe and observed him lying on his back. Another firefighter was already securing O'Keefe onto a backboard. McLaughlin engaged with Karen, obtaining some basic demographic and medical information. She noted Miss Read was visibly upset and distraught. She claimed Read exclaimed that she had hit O'Keefe with her vehicle, a large Lexus SUV. McLaughlin observed injuries to O'Keefe's face, including swelling around his right eye and a laceration above it. She relayed the information gathered from Read to other firefighters in the ambulance. She drove the ambulance to Good Samaritan Hospital, noting poor visibility and unplowed roads, which prolonged the journey. In the back of the ambulance, she noted that O'Keefe was wearing jeans, a lighter-colored zip-up jacket or sweatshirt, and one sneaker. During her testimony, an investigative journalist who goes by the name Turtle Boy posted on social media this photo noting, quote, Katie McLaughlin, a drinking buddy of Brian Albert's daughter, just testified that a cop was right next to Karen Read when she said, I hit him, and that the cop clarified that she did in fact say that. There isn't a single police report that mentions her saying this, unquote. Katie McLaughlin testimony under direct examination by the Commonwealth will resume tomorrow, followed by cross-examination. I hope you find these daily summaries of the trial insightful. You can show your appreciation by sharing this content with others who are following the trial. Sharing will hopefully help in achieving the seemingly elusive goal of 500 subscribers. You can also help me determine how many people are actually watching these daily recaps until the end. Please type in the comments section the title of your favorite Prince song. He was my neighbor for decades, and our whole community misses him so much.